February 14th, 2022. Halfcast 239, episode 239. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Texas man who was wanted for murdering his girlfriend had tracked her car for months. One thing I never understood is why do men and women show this type of energy only after the relationship is shot to shit? This is the type of vibe that keeps marriages. Shit, this is the type of vibe that makes people Fortune 500 billionaires. Misdirected energy. Deputies are looking for a Texas man who allegedly murdered his girlfriend, and they say the killing followed months in which he tracked the woman's car. Luis Angel Montes, 35, put a GPS device on the vehicle of Camarina Trujillo Perez, 38, a witness said in a newly reported affidavit obtained by KXAN. Authorities also said that his boyfriend saw Perez hug and kiss another person at a local supermarket. And I'm not a heartless guy, but after seeing something like that, you will have to start mentally preparing yourself for the fact that the relationship is over. The Travis County Sheriff's Office had announced late last month that the couple was missing, and they updated days later to say that they believe Montez murdered Perez after his history of making threatening statements about her. Authorities have said the couple was last seen together on January 24th. Family members reported them missing on January 25th. Deputies now say evidence shows that Montez killed Perez earlier that morning. Camarina Perez's vehicle was reportedly seen January 27th, 2022, traveling north through Temple, authorities said during the initial missing persons case. Detectives are exploring that tip, but are not ruling out the possibility that her vehicle could be anywhere in the area, the state of Texas, or beyond. They hope the public can assist in locating the blue 2014 Chevrolet Sonic Texas license plate FZH0400. Detectives are also looking for a black 2014 Toyota Tundra Texas license plate CVH2575, which may also be involved in the couple's disappearance. These type of cases just automatically make me think of that whole Brian Laundrie situation. Montez allegedly did not act angry or make threats during the aforementioned supermarket incident, though he seemed sad and upset. When you know somebody for blowing up and making threats and being angry and storming around all over the place, they're wearing their emotions out loud. You should be very nervous. You should be very scared when that person doesn't do anything but just be quiet and be calm. That means they're beyond, they've reached a level that's beyond anger. He called her repeatedly and met with Perez in the parking lot of a bank in the city of Pflugerville, officials said, citing cell phone data and surveillance footage. He attacked her so badly this killed her, leaving a pool of blood between two vehicles, authorities said. Montez drove Perez's car with her body in the vehicle, with investigators vaguely saying that he headed to Lake Pflugerville to get rid of or hide the evidence. This is a horrible outcome, and my heart goes out to Camarina's friends and family, Travis County Sheriff Sally Hernandez has said. We are doing everything we can to find Luis Montez and bring justice to our loved ones. I really hope they find this guy before he takes the coward's way out and kills himself. But please, whatever you do, don't bring in Dog the Bounty Hunter. Man suspected of riding around on a BMX bike and injuring 11 in weekend stabbing spree. Man on a bike is easy to catch. All you got to do is take an Eli Apple rookie card, fold it up, and put it in the spokes. The BMX bike riding New Mexico man suspected of attacking 11 strangers during a Sunday stabbing spree is behind bars. Officers arrested Tobias Gutierrez, 42, on Sunday after investigating 7 crime scenes across the city, according to Officer Gilbert Gallegos of the Albuquerque Police Department. On Super Bowl Sunday, right before Valentine's Day, riding around on a bicycle, stabbing people. Sounds like a real superstar. Inmates are probably the only thing closest to friends that he could possibly hope for. Officer Gallegos noticed that the first stabbing occurred just before noon on Sunday near Sister Bar. The defendant was identified as being a man on a small BMX bike with a large knife, and police were investigating multiple scenes by mid afternoon. Deputies were eventually able to locate Gutierrez around 6 p.m. on Sunday, and inmate records show that law enforcement officials then booked Gutierrez into the Bernalillo County Metropolitan Detention Center at 7:12 a.m. on Monday. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, Officer Gallegos said during a news conference Sunday evening. He went on to say that officers first arrived on the scene after calls came in of a man stabbing individuals inside a Circle K convenience store. Most of the men and women who were stabbed sought medical attention, while some were critically injured. All 11 victims were in stable condition by Sunday night, according to Officer Gallegos. Nobody thought to push him off the bike, beat his ass, and give the bicycle to one of the neighborhood kids? Gutierrez is now facing 2 charges of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon for the stabbings, which also occurred at a homeless encampment outside a restaurant and near an apartment complex in the city. He was all over the place like bird shit. Nobody just kicked him off the bike and beat his ass. A man Gutierrez, allegedly held up at knife point, but did not stab or injure, spoke with Albuquerque Journal after police were able to apprehend the suspected slasher. Hold up, this is a 42-year-old man riding around on a children's bike on Super Bowl Sunday cutting people. We are not going to give him the title of slasher like he's the stuff of nightmares. He was talking crazy. He was angry about something, said Rob. As soon as he dropped the bike, he pulled his blade out. This appears to be far from Gutierrez's first run in with the law. Court records indicate that a man of the same name and age had been a defendant in 19 court cases since 1999, facing charges that range from possession of a controlled substance and driving without a license to burglary and larceny. In February 2015, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for being in possession of a firearm and ammunition. Individuals convicted of a felony in New Mexico cannot own, sell, or even carry a firearm. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. How do you go from driving around with a gun to pedaling around with a knife? American Airlines flight diverted due to unruly passenger. Oh, that national no-fly list is coming, and you people that's crying against it are probably the reason why it needs to be here in the first place. An American Airlines flight headed from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. landed Sunday in Kansas City instead. The flight was diverted because of an unruly passenger who tried to open a door, the flight attendants union said in a statement. The flight landed safely around 2:30 p.m. local time, and crew requested that law enforcement meet the flight, the airline said. The passenger was subdued by our crew and with the help of other passengers. Shout out to the flight crew and the passengers. They don't pay these people enough. Of course, they don't pay the passengers at all. But I would have loved nothing more than to see that guy just get tased one good time until he soiled his pants. The FBI Kansas City said in a statement that the individual was taken into custody. The Association of Professional Flight Attendants tweeted that the passenger tried to open the forward passenger door. This violent behavior must stop, Association of Professional Flight Attendants tweeted Sunday night. APFA will continue to collaborate with other flight attendant and customer service agent unions, the Department of Transportation, the Federal Aviation Administration, and Congress to ensure these offenders are prosecuted to the full extent of the law with appropriate fines, criminal penalties, and applicable flying bans. If you're old enough to remember the A team, you remember that every time BA had to fly Mr. T, they would have to give him something to knock him out. They have to give him some type of drugs. I remember one time they gave him like burgers or something. Slept the whole flight. Maybe the same thing applies. Landlord scammers invented fake tenants and rent grift. To the uninspired landlord, classic measures like routine harassment, cutting off heat, and baseless evictions may seem like the best way to squeeze tenants. Not so for five, which are horrible ways to treat tenants. Not so for 568 Audubon Realty and its principals Fred and Alex Hay, the Anna Delveys of real estate, who invented a collection of fake tenants in their Manhattan building to illegally jack up rents. Leave no scam unturned. And if you are not familiar with Anna Delvey, look up Anna Delvey or Anna Sorokin. And I think she has a show coming up on Netflix if it's not out already. And that will blow your mind. The scheme worked like this: gathering children. Here we go. The landlord registered fictional tenants as paying higher rent than the actual living tenants. When the fake tenants vacated the apartments, the landlord was able to game the rent stabilization system to inflate rents for future real tenants. When a probe by the Attorney General in response to a suit brought by tenants demanded proof of security deposits and rent payments of 49 tenants that had been registered as living in their buildings, the landlord could only come up with nine. Like I'm not going to notice the same four people for years coming in and out of the building. I never see anyone new. Based on a review of the documents, the Attorney General's office found that these registered tenants may have been illusory or fictitious. The landlord also falsely claimed to have performed apartment renovations, which allowed them to further raise rents. When he said illusory, the first thing that popped in my head is that he got cardboard cutouts of people in the windows with the lights on, making it look like there were families in those empty apartments. The schemers were ultimately victims of their own hubris. The whole thing was put into motion after they tried to collect money from a tenant they had previously evicted. As the Real Deal reported, one of their real tenants, Marlene Santos de Martin, went to a law firm after she got a non-payment suit from 568 Audubon Realty months after she had already been evicted. The firm advised her to request her unit's rental history from the state. It was only then, when reviewing the rent records, that they realized the landlords had claimed to lease her apartment to a new fake tenant before she had even moved out. The lease signed by the fake tenant, Amanda Nunez, reported a rent of about $2,854 to the state, more than twice the $1,350 that D. Martin had paid. To justify $2,854, the owner would have to spend more than $50,000 on improvements. The lawsuit filed in 2016 alleged the work never happened. When a real person named Maria de la Rosa leased the apartment in 2011, she agreed to pay about $3,360 per month. That's 149% more than what DeMartin had paid, and would have required $106,200 in improvements, plus the vacancy increase, the tenant's complaint said. For good measure, the landlord told the state she was paying even more, $3,486. It's like all scams. Once you get greedy, that's when you get caught. You kind of have to admire the grip. No, I don't. You're lucky I don't sick that guy with the bike and the knife on him. The slasher. The landlord created a whole building full of Amandas, fake, who are very happy to pay sky high rents for their unrenovated, previously affordable apartments. Who really needs stainless steel appliances when you love your brilliant and handsome landlords? Fake. Amanda said when reached by Curbed for comment. It was a fantasy world that was thankfully unraveled by the tenants real who were being fleeced, who will now get reimbursed for the inflated rents. It's not quite a happy ending. The landlord won't actually be fined, but I bet they had to at least promise to never invent a building full of fake tenants again. I'm sure they've learned their lesson. Yeah, they learned their lesson. Keep more accurate records, and they probably would have got away with it for another 20 years. Fun show. Fun show. Fun show. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to raise your rent very, very soon. Adios.